2, 1.
Okay, fourth episode. We have Victor here,
Yes, sir.
and today we're going to talk about RPE and percentages. So let's begin with.
Okay. So RPE is called rate perceived exertions. I simply just use that explains the effort, how many reps you have in the tank. It's as simple as that. Okay. And percentage is you based on your 1 rep max, 3 rep max, 5 rep max, and then you calculate to a percentage and towards a point that you know that what percentage you're working on that day. So let's say if my max is 200 pounds on a deadlift, today I need to go 70% of 5 reps. That means 200 times 0.7. I have to do that for 5 reps for whatever sets. So those are pretty much how it means. Okay, so now we simply explain how they are going. Actually, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Who do you think should work with an RPE scale and who should work it with a percentage scale?
Okay, so RPE scale, I think like it's best for some intermediate lifter who has knowledge of how their body works, how the exercise, what's the technique. So the technique doesn't break a lot. And then I really wouldn't recommend it to very beginner because I feel like you have to know the movement, you have to know how your body responds, and then you're good to use RPE scale. You might differ from this opinion, but let's see.
I do have a little bit different type of opinions regarding about for beginners. The reason being because most beginners are general populations. They don't have a lot of childhood exposures. So for them to working on RPE skills might be a little bit easier because if I do have an advanced athlete, they can be well programmed. And let's say that they need to squat 90% that day, they need to squat 90%. But for a lot of general populations, they have a lot of things going on with their life. I say work, stress, a lot of things. They'll be like, oh, they don't have the motivation to do that. Therefore, by them using your RPE skills might be a little bit easier for a trainer or for themselves to adjust it. However, I do understand your point is being saying that, oh, RPE is hard for the beginners to do it because they have no idea what a failure looks like. So a lot of people misunderstand that, oh, I have 2 reps into the tank. But do you really actually have 2 reps into the tank?
Exactly. So true failure is something like a lot of people don't know, even if they have trained for a lot of years.
Makes sense.
That's the only sole reason I wouldn't recommend it. But if someone knows their body well, like you should be good with the RPE scale, and you should know which RPE scale like to use because there are a lot on the internet and everything.
So I personally just use a 1 to 10 scale. Because the 1 to 10 scale is the easiest. Let's say 10 is I can do anything left. 9 is I can maybe do 1 rep. 2 is maybe I can guarantee do 9 reps but not do 2 reps, and vice versa. You just do that. But I think the difference between RPE people use is, do they use it on a machine or they do it on a free weight? That's a big difference.
Yeah, exactly.
So because a free weight, there's a technique aspect. You do anything that is a free weight, when the motion is not patterned, it's a lot of techniques. But if I do a machine, everything is being set. And that's the sole reason why bodybuilders likes to use machines. It allows them to push really hard and contract on the muscles. But let's see, if you're an athlete, it's going to be a 2 different story. And for athletes, when they have to move things really fast, their RPE scale is going to be different too, right? But when it comes down to solely beginners, RPE scale is they just have to really know and understand what their body is, and then make sure that they are actually pushing to true failures, and then to understand those skills.
I agree with you. And when you're talking about free weights and machines, I'm thinking about Ronnie Coleman and Dorian Yates style of training. So both are very different because one is using mostly compounds, and the other one is usually using a lot of machines
and isolated motions.
Exactly. And Dorian Yates is the guy who has pushed training to the failure. If you watch his clips or if you read something about him, he's the guy you should look like what training to the true failure looks like. You should really look into that guy. So yeah.
But if you look at it, Dorian Yates, he's a bodybuilder, right? So he's looking to shorten and lengthening the muscle as much as possible and to failure. But it comes to another point that it's a whole nother topic is he is a non-drug-free athlete compared to a drug-free athlete. I would consider if you're doing like a drug-free year, like your natural athletes, maybe it's better for you to do a lot of compound exercise still, so you get that growth hormone response. Compared to Dorian Yates, he doesn't need a growth hormone response. He just get it from somewhere. So all he has to focus on is contracting and shortening the muscles and maximize and isolate them as much as possible, and then push them as much as possible to give them as much as stimulus. So yeah, but you want to elaborate a little bit on who should uses the percentage and the pros and cons of it?
So percentages, anyone who is training for a sport, basically an athlete, I think they should use it. But then sometimes it's gonna be very hectic because you have to know the exact percentages, and if you're traveling a lot while training, that's gonna be an issue. But I think it has some advantage to it because training to percentages can really guarantee your success in the lifts, and like not just in the lifts, in the training, in the whole training. If you're talking about someone who's from track and field, so if they know their percentages, if they know what to work on, when to work on, so basically they should really see it as a use.
I like the idea because pretty much you are given a map. All you have to do is to be disciplined and follow it. So athletes are great because you're athletes. So if you give them a percentage of that day and then they sleep well, they don't have a lot of stress, and nutrition is well, they should be on path of working to their goals. And by using a percentage, you pretty much are not guaranteed, but make the chance the most likely for you to get to that goal. And that's a power of percentage. Let's use a 5-3-1 percentage. Every week you increase a bit. Therefore, you pretty much guaranteed to get to the end goal that you want to get. By using RPE is just very hard because every day you feel different. Every day your percentage feels different. Your RPE feels different. So, and that's really comes down to what type of goal and what type of lifestyle you are getting yourself into. Right? If you're an athlete, I'll strongly recommend you use a percentage. But if you're a general population and you don't have that much time, you have a stressful job, you have a stressful family, you have kids, and it might be a different story. So I think at the end of the day, it's really come down to what you actually want, and are you adjusting towards it.
So let me ask you a question about that. So if some newbie just walks into the gym, they have read a little about RPE, they know a scale, like what they can use. What would they watch? What would they should watch, and how they can get to the knowledge where they can really apply those RPE scales, and in what sense they should apply?
So what I personally would do is I'll introduce them to RPE scales, but I will let them also feel a little bit more intensity about the RPE by using the machines. Because first of all, it's less technical and it's a little bit safer. And they can contract the muscle a little bit better. So I'll push them quite hard on the machines and be like, how many reps do you think you have in the tank? They'd be like, oh, I think I have 2 reps. I'm like, no, actually you have, if I let you go to a point that you cannot go, I think you still probably have about 10 to 15 reps left. Because a coach understands that the more they struggle, the slower they go. A lot of people don't understand that. Be like, oh, I think I have 2 reps left. You know, you have 15 reps left in the tank because the rep is still going really fast. So that's not a true failure. It's just you think you cannot do it anymore. But if I always tell them, if I put a gun next to their head, I guarantee they can do a lot more than 2. Right? So that's how I would teach them to use RPE scale, but also have them to understand what a true failure is. But I do think a lot of beginners, they are afraid of pushing to that point. And I understand everyone has coming from a beginner, it's fine.
Yeah.
But the only thing we have to adjust is because beginners adapt pretty much to anything. So a lot of time, if you work around, I would say based on my experience, if you go to RPE even 5 or 6, they can still make progress through month.
Yeah.
Especially if you're young and you have some early childhood exposure about what sports or moving, or even that just be generalized is like if you're a male, you have more hormones, it's more likely for you to get adaptation, even if you just work within the RPE 5 or 6.
Even like some people, they don't want to be pushed to a point where it's RPE 9 or 10. So I think like this really fits into them. But if someone doesn't have a coach, or they don't have anyone to look around, so the RP is gonna be totally different than someone who has a coach, right?
Absolutely.
What would you suggest them? What they should do?
You have a workout partner.
Yeah,
and you have to push. Point. You have to push to a point that you can no longer move.
Yeah.
And you have to do it at least once in your life. If you've never done that, then you don't know your true RPE skill.
Yeah, exactly.
So have someone. Unless you're the type of person like a David Goggins who's willing to push it till the maximal limit of the limit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't know your RPE skills. Yeah, but and also for athletes, maybe some people are doing like velocity type training. When the speed drop, you're done. That could be their RPE skills.
Yeah.
So it comes down to what type of goals you're working towards still. Because not everybody wants to work in the bodybuilding RPE skill, right?
Not everyone who's lifting weights has to become a bodybuilder.
That's right.
Yeah.
Even though it's good to look like a bodybuilder,
yeah, of course.
But not everybody wants to. Yeah. So we just have to understand that. But if you're beginners and you don't have a coach, find a partner. At least just once, just like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, let me do a hamstring curl. Let's go to the end. Let's go to nothing you cannot go.
Yeah.
Right? And then you'll find your true RPE skills. Okay?
Just to add on, if you have someone as a working partner, or like someone who has to push you, the way they hype you can really affect the RPE scale.
Adrenaline.
It can be totally different.
Adrenaline is real.
Exactly.
Yeah, if someone coming from a calm state and they all of a sudden, okay, hop on that leg extension and crank it up. You think how much they're gonna push, or they're mentally prepared? It's a competition, or it's a life or death situation. Who's gonna do more? Obviously, the second option.
Yeah.
So adrenaline is a big role. So having a partner, it's adrenaline.
Exactly.
It pushes you.
Yeah.
Especially if you have some sort of peers that's around your age, around your level, and you guys compete. Oh, you're gonna soon and later find that your true RPE skill, right? It's pretty easy to find it.
Yeah.
So I think that's today's topic.
I think
that's a lot.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I'll see you guys next time.
Next time we're gonna talk about something different.
Whatever you want to talk about, we'll figure it out.